the 2022 summary proposed budget, our total revenue should be $53,532,558 after I add in that $68,047 difference. And so the total general fund, removing beginning fund balance and ending fund balance, comes to $39,532,558 rather than the $39,464,511 that's shown on this sheet. So any questions about that?
Not for me.
Okay, great. So moving on to the expenditures. So considering everything that we have moved in so far into the budget level 3, the expenditures in salaries and benefits are now 28,600,000. And I'm sorry, I'm reading off the 2021 adopted budget. Sorry. The 2022 proposed budget would be adding the $68,047. So scratch that I stated previously.
Are you nervous today, Jen?
I just had I've been working on the ER&R rates, which I'll get to in a minute. So I'm a little bit scattered here. So the salaries and benefits, $29,689,632 is the amount in the 2022 proposed budget after everything that we have added previously. And then the operating $13,085,579 for total expenditures of $42,775,211. And the revenues are $40,326,859. So again, add that $68,047. Sorry for the confusion on that. On the special funds, on the 2022 proposed budget, we have $99,180,266 for revenues and expenditures for the special and other funds. And so the grand total of all funds, $161,007,125 in both revenues and expenditures. So a couple of things that I wanted to bring up today, the lobbying services for the Gorst Coalition, we had added $5,000 into the 2021 budget in an amendment. And that is not in the 2022 budget, but I believe that's a multi-year contract. So that's something we should probably add. So just wanted to get.
I would think so. Commissioners, are you in agreement?
Yeah, no, I think that should be right.
Okay, and did you want me to add that in, or do you want me to reduce something else and add that?
Right now, I just say add that in.
Just add it in. Okay.
That's my commissioners. You comfortable with that?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing that I have is the roads equipment list. So they did provide me with an equipment listing. And the equipment list shows $1,890,000. And the list that's included in the budget briefing is not prioritized, but they did send me a listing that is prioritized. And their priority list is about $980,000 worth of equipment, which is more in line with what they normally spend on an average year. And I can get the averages that they expend normally, if that would be helpful to you.
Yes, please.
That would be. And Jennifer, maybe could you look back in previous years just to take a look at I'd like to see their averages, if that would be okay.
Of actuals though,
Yeah,
because we've done a
Yeah.
lot over the years of numbers that, yeah.
Right,
Frank's nodding yes.
Sure, I'll send you maybe from like 2015 to 2020, what they've expended in those years.
that
Okay,
would be great.
I'll do that today. The things that they have on their priority list, I'll send that to you as well. They have the front end loader, the chipper, 4 plow and dumps, tractor and lowboy trailer, 3 axle pup trailers. So those are the priorities. And I'll send you their priority list as well.
Great, thank you.
I did receive from them some rates, some ER&R rates, but they didn't tie out to the budget that they had sent. So we still have some work to do on that. So I'm working on finalizing their ER&R rates from my perspective, and I'll send those out today as well, later on today, to you to take a look at, and to Frank and Public Works as well.
And I see Mark in Frank's room. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark, welcome.
The next thing that I have, the sales and use tax, the EDC and Belfair Sewer requests. So EDC has sent me their request, and it's the same as last year, $90,000. And Belfair Sewer is in our budget the same as last year. And so I'm anticipating that they'll be sending their application to me, and I'll brief those next week. But I just wanted to let you know those were coming, the applications for 90,000 and then 450,000.
Find out, we're gonna have hookup fees that are coming in because of the construction. Find out what exactly we're doing with those, and maybe not this year, but on the next year, it may help to offset some of the monies that we put in. Or maybe we can continue doing what we're doing and then utilize that money to pay off some of the debt. Something to consider, commissioners.
So do you mean increase what they're receiving from sales and use tax?
The Belfair Sewer part, I'm just saying when they bring in the big money, we may change numbers in the future. They've got all these hookups that are occurring out there right now. Not for today. I'm not saying do anything today. I'm just saying to keep track on it because we may decide how to handle that money.
Okay. Okay, so the next thing that I have is on the fire marshal in community services. So they have a budget ask of 40,000, and commissioners, you would ask for them to bring back I think salary comparisons, and so they're working on that. And right now it's at $10,000 in maintenance level, but they always expend more than that. So do you want to leave that there, or do you want to think about that some more, or have them bring back those salary comparisons?
Any opinions, commissioners?
I wouldn't mind looking at the salary comparisons, but I'd also appreciate Mark's input as well, since he's coming on board. It's always good to get a fresh set of eyes and a fresh opinion too.
Dave, I see you click on there. Commissioners, you mind if I let Dave in this conversation? Any objection? Dave, please.
Yeah, sure. Just to kind of update. So there's 2 pieces of the fire marshal part of that. So we have a contract with the Mason County fire folks, fire chiefs. And there's an increase in the budget for that because we do expend more in that every year for fire investigation. We do than what's spent in the budget. It's a requirement that we do that. We're looking to bring in a full-time fire marshal, which will change the nature of that contract. So we've already talked to the fire chiefs. They understand that might change. as we go into bringing in a full-time fire marshal, then maybe not all those investigations will go out through the Fire Chiefs Association. So once we get down this road a little further, we'll be able to go look at that contract and then work with fire chiefs.
Questions?
Quick comment. I just think I think it's pretty cool that we're bringing on a fire marshal full time. I think it's going to be necessary. We're going to grow. We're not slowing down. So
I can think of a few phone calls I will no longer get. Somebody being mad that we don't have one.
Oh, Randy, you enjoy those phone calls.
Yeah, I know. At least I know where I stand on those. Okay. Any questions on it, Jen? Do you have any questions still that are outstanding from us that you'd like to hear?
Not at this time on the fire marshal.
Okay.
So we've covered the lobbying services. So the next thing that I have is the veterans contract. So we're working on drafting that, but just have a couple of questions. If I can find my questions on that. And this is with Crossroads Housing. So we have the 10% administration fee that was in the North Mason Resources contract. Do you want to keep that 10% administration fee in the Crossroads Housing?
Yeah, and I think the term was supposed to be up to 10% and not 10% administration fee, because they were supposed to try not to take that money.
Okay, we'll make sure that it says up to 10%. I believe the last contract.
Commissioners, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Kevin, you're muted.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. I mean, obviously, 10% of 5,000 is only 500. I don't know that.
10,000 now.
Oh, so okay, $1,000. So yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
I'd kind of like to be, I'd be curious to see if Crossroads needs that. I think it might be good just to ask them, because I know that they are getting extra monies from the federal government, and so I don't know whether they've had to hire new people or anything. It might be fun to just get an update from Crossroads. Sometimes invite them to a briefing just to see how they're doing and see if there's other ways that we can help.
Yeah, not on this particular issue, but overall,
Right.
and overall, that would be nice too. Mark, maybe you can take note of that and bring that to us in the future. But again, that's why we said up to. They may need it, they may not. If they don't, this way they don't have to just take it for that. It can go right into the services.
Yeah, we can leave it at 10 or up to 10%, and that way they don't have to take it. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last contract that we had written or that we followed with North Mason, we had fronted the money and then had them prove the expenditures. And that's how we've been doing a lot of the other ARPA funding contracts as well. Would you like to do this one up front or reimbursable?
I'd like to do it up front.
I think that's fine. I think that they'll follow through with the reporting requirements.
Yeah, we have a good history with them. I have no issue with that.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the last thing, and this is probably more a question of our ARPA group, but I wanted to make sure that you weigh in, commissioners, the category for ARPA funding. So this can fall into a few different categories, either negative economic impact under aid to nonprofit organizations or other economic support, or it can fall under services to disproportionately impacted communities.
Which is the easiest to prove?
I don't know. I mean, my initial reaction is to go with the nonprofit aid to nonprofit organizations, but it's definitely something we should talk about at our ARPA group.
Yeah, well, because it is specific for a specific purpose, it may be a little hard just to say nonprofit, but I want to keep it as simple as possible so that if we get audited or when we get audited, we have protections. So I'd be open to however anybody decides to do it. I'm going to be open to it if your recommendation is this is our safest way to handle it.
Okay, we can take a look at that as a group and then come back with a recommendation in the drafted contract to you.
Okay, but again, hopefully we can do this as soon as possible. They have that stand down and stuff coming shortly.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get it briefed to you by next Monday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. We need to decide on if we're going to do a resolution for non-union and across the board increase. And I just wanted to get you thinking about that, commissioners.
Yeah, I'd say, do you need that now or you want to do that during the budget briefing? I think I'll just kick in. We've set up a past precedence that's how we've done it. And we've continued to keep everybody up. I remember when I first came in here, they were years and years without anything. We haven't had that issue. And because of that, we also haven't had some of the hatred and stuff that came along with not giving anything for 5 years or so. Is 5 years an understatement, Frank? Is that about right? Yeah. So I'd like to see us continue doing what we're doing according to past precedents, just keep moving. Commissioner Schutte, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think it's good for keeping parity. So, and Jennifer, have you been planning for that in our budget already, or is that going to increase the numbers you already presented?
It will increase the numbers. I don't ever put in numbers that have not been approved in a resolution into the budget for salaries.
How did we word that in our guidelines? Did we address that at all in our guidelines this year?
I think we just said that non-union may receive an increase.
Frank, how did we do it internally? Did we put it into our budget? I think we all did, right?
No, it's not in the budget.
In what you guys put forward, in your proposal.
You mean the preliminary budget?
Yes.
No, it's not included because there's nothing definitive that the board has said they want to move it up 25%, 2.5%, or what have you.
Okay,
So
what about have you seen it in the other departments?
Only the union contracts that have been approved.
Is that something in the future that we could address at guideline time, just for simplicity's sake? I mean, I
think we need to make our decision earlier, and then yes.
That would be so awesome.
So if the decision is made at the time the budget guidelines are put out, then that can be included in the preliminary budget.
To be completely candid with you, I was operating under the assumption that that's what we did. Immaterial at this point, I guess, but it probably does affect decisions than on PLRs. I'd rather cook that in early and know, I'd rather deal with that first than adding new staff.
Commissioner, you're not far off from me either. I actually thought that was in there. I don't know how I missed that it wasn't. And I assumed that was part of the maintenance, that we had a set amount. I know we had discussed it. We had the discussion of the number. So I just kind of assumed that that's what we were doing. And if we weren't going to do it, we take it out. That's what I thought. But
yep, and the discussion about the number was just that, a discussion. There wasn't any direction from the board specifically as to what and how to proceed.
I agree.
It seems like it should be aligned with the union contracts.
Well, only because we've kept everybody in parity. It didn't used to be that way. That's why it wasn't set up that way. But we've been really good at keeping everything together. And if we can do that again this next year or so, Mark, then we will be able to continue.
Mark, is your hand cramping yet from?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so we'll bring that forward during a budget workshop. Is that what I'm hearing? Maybe next week?
I don't know. I think what I'm saying is let's put it in for the budget workshop to be agreed upon to move in there, because I think we do have agreement. I think we have that set number that we've done with everybody, and I think we do have agreement amongst the commission from the past to move forward with it. What we just don't have is it already in the game, because we're going to need to see that number for our final decisions. So I'd say bake it in now, and then, you know, final approval at the end. Commissioners, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd like to see those numbers in by our next workshop.
Yeah,
Mhm.
please.
Okay, and what would the number? that you would like to-
Jennifer, I'll convey that.
Thank you.
Okay, so commissioners, the actual, going back to the beginning of our budget workshop or budget briefing, sorry. The beginning revenue number for current expense is adding in the $68,047 is $40,394,906. And the revenue, including beginning fund balance after adding that $68,047 in, is $61,894,906. So just wanted to clarify that.
Say it one more time, please. 61 million
894.
94. Thank you.
96. You're welcome. So attached is the PLRs and the ones that we have approved and the ones that are outstanding. Would you like to go through any of those now, or do you want to wait until next week's?
Yeah, commissioners, do you want to do this now, or you want to actually set up for a separate budget workshop so we can go ahead and focus solely on this?
I think it should be on its own.
Me
Commissioner
too.
Trask?
Agreed.
Okay. Let's do that, please. I agree, because I don't want to confuse any of this.
Okay, great. Then the next thing that I have is an update on our electronic funds transfer payments through AP. And this is something that has been a long time coming. We are going to start doing electronic funds transfer payments. The auditor's office is. And so we want to add this into our financial policy that we're going to allow this. We've been sending out information to vendors, or the auditor's office has been doing that, asking them if they would like to receive electronic funds transfers. Is there any questions, comments? I'll be bringing that forward hopefully next Monday if I can cram it all in.
Questions, comments?
Nope.
Just get down with your bad self and bring it on.
Okay, so that's all that I have. Thank you.
What else you got, Frank?
Jennifer, don't you have the EDC contract?
You mentioned it.
I do have it, but I received it late, and so I didn't do a budget briefing, and so I'm going to bring it forward next week along with Public Works request.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is Nicole with the non-represented medical contribution request.
Good morning. So yeah, for the briefing, we're just requesting approval to set an agenda item on November 9th for the approval to increase the 2022 non-rep medical contribution by $52 per month, from $13.62 per month to increase to $1,414 per month. And I want to make a correction on my briefing document. It says per RCW 3.16.070. That should actually be RCW 36.16.070. And so this RCW is the applicable RCW that gives guidance for the Board of County Commissioners shall fix the compensation for all employees. And currently the collective bargaining agreements also have that current increase of $52 per month, bringing their monthly medical contribution to $1,414 per month.
Commissioners, in order to keep parity, I think I would think we go forward. Any comments or?
Yeah, I would support, be supportive of this. Also, just did we handle this the same way we handled? Okay, so this needs to be factored in additional to.
Correct.
for our next budget workshop. Okay.
I can see Kevin's depression setting in.
Thank you.
Gonna need a minute, Commissioner.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, what do you got next?
Next item is TJ in regards to the offsite backup storage.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So some time ago, Commissioner Netherland asked me to research and find a decent solution for our offsite backup storage. After looking at multiple vendors, I'm suggesting we go with our current backup vendor, which is Unitrends. So they offer a cloud backup storage solution. It fully integrates into our current system, and it is also hardened in such a way that any kind of ransomware attack, our backups basically can't be compromised in the cloud. It is a 3-year cost at $63,376, and we would need a budget supplemental to do this.
That came in cheaper than we thought it was going to. Did Kevin, Commissioner Schutte, did this go through your committee?
Yeah, so TJ did brief the IT steering committee, and there was consensus to support this there, and I think it's the right decision.
I would agree. Commissioner Trask, do you have any problem with putting this forward and protecting us?
No, I think it's a great idea. I think it's been a long time waiting.
Yes. Thank you, TJ. Like I said, this came in cheaper than what you and I had discussed by quite a bit. So
yeah, I was happy to see that as well.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and put it on the agenda and let's make this thing a reality.
All right, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, TJ. Next item is the discussion in regards to the purchase of the PUD 3 property. That's that parcel next to the prison.
Yeah.
So after considered review and research, it was determined that the back third of that property, about 5 or 7 acres, is potentially wetland. There's a small stream that runs through the property and would not be available for use for the jail, for a jail expansion project in the future. So the question I have for the board is, do we want to purchase? We don't have any contracts or any commitments, but do we still want to purchase it simply for the property and the buildings that exist on the parcel currently? It would not be available for utilization as a option for a jail.
Question I have is have you been in contact with PUD? Were they aware of this wetlands? And if not, would they reconsider a price?
I have been in contact with them. They were aware of the wetland potential, but I have not discussed negotiating a reduced price. So the price that they had was an appraisal that incorporated the as-is component of the land.
So it did incorporate the potential wetland in the appraisal.
Correct.
Did it spell it out in the appraisal?
No.
Then it did not truly do it.
So it incorporated the parcel as is.
Yeah. Because when there's wetland in the appraisal and it's, put it in there for delineation, it's specified usually. So Commissioner Trask, go ahead.
Yeah, how much of the property is usable then?
About half to a little over a half. Not enough for what's there, plus 5+ acres for a jail. And that was reviewed by KMD.
Yeah, unless there was a wetland delineation program, which could be set up too. That's always possible. Depends on what type of stream you have back there, though.
Well, and then some other items have come forward, which is that we could talk to the Department of Corrections and swap some property. So up front on the 102 component, if we were to say, take 5 acres of their parcel in that corner and swap for 5 acres of wetlands that they don't use anything for anyway, we may be able to come with enough property to do a jail in the future. But I haven't started that conversation, if that's the direction the board wants to go.
So correct me if I'm wrong. We have did we do a resolution saying
Yes.
that we would purchase this? So we're gonna have to rescind that, right?
Correct.
And then maybe in the future, we do a little bit more research before bringing it forward.
Yep. So my recommendation would be to rescind the resolution at our next commission meeting on the 9th, and then do more, considerably more research and conversation and discussion and negotiation with both PUD3 and or Department of Correction, and then come back with a potentially viable option in the future.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're talking to the PUD, there is use to us regardless of the prison or the jail. And I would never want to see this county purchase property with the idea that we may be a swap here, maybe a swap there, because if that stuff doesn't happen by the time it's over with, then we set ourselves up in a bad position. I'd like to see us purchase it, if we're going to purchase it at a price relevant to its value for what it actually is now, with us being able to utilize it. And then if we can benefit from it later, great. If we can't, great. But I'd rather, we're probably, because we set a price on that resolution, right?
Correct.
So we're going to have to, in my opinion, we're going to have to rescind that resolution anyway.
Correct.
And have that further conversation, but I just think that we need to be open to just purchasing it as is without all the drawn out stuff, if we can get it at the right price.
Again, so my recommendation is to rescind the resolution. I would go back with PUD3 to see if they would negotiate on the price, given the circumstances that Mason County is looking to utilize it at the moment, with the opportunity that maybe in the future we can leverage and do a property swap with the with Department of Correction.
I wouldn't even include that in the negotiation because that has nothing to do with them.
Right. I didn't mean to include it in the
Yeah,
negotiation.
yeah, just see what we can do about the price for as it is with only that much is usable land. Not that it's an as is thing, but this is how much is usable land. We're looking at it. And if we can find a way to change that, it's going to cost money to change it. It's going to cost money to bring in somebody to do a wetland delineation to figure out what kind of swaps we got to do. None of that's free. So the value of the land, in my opinion, is the value of the land that we can use, with the other being a nice backyard.
Right. But at the minimum, we need to rescind that resolution.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Do you agree, commissioners?
Yeah, and I think there's value for this parcel potentially for us beyond a jail site. And so that was, it was the jail would have been, having it as a location for the jail would have been, an added benefit, but there's certainly value to it to us currently, with our storage needs and just, we're just constantly chasing square foot, and so I don't think it's a bad thing to add to the county inventory if we can get a reasonable agreement with them on some of the with some of these changes that we now know. So
Commissioner
Okay.
Trask.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I said previously. And so I think what I would like to do also is recommend that we move a little bit slower before doing resolutions so that we don't have to rescind them. Or maybe, phrase the resolution so that it's not specifically mentioning, a jail or whatever, because Commissioner Shute is right. There's a lot of potential for a lot of property. We have needs.
Well, and just the thing for, staff on this one, I don't think it was because they mentioned jail or anything like that. It's just the idea that it came up that there was a potential wetland that we sent people out there, found that it was. You'll find that with anything we do. In the beginning, we were in a hurry to grab this property. And I want to remind everybody, I don't think we were talking jail when we first were talking about this anyway. That came up afterwards, but we were starting to put some hopes on that.
Okay, well, I'll move forward then on the 9th. We'll resend the resolution and then continue moving forward with potential modifications to the purchase.
Thank you. What else you got?
Next item, human resources recommendation for district court. Last week, Judge Steele had brought forward a reorganization for district court by adding a deputy administrator for district court in his budget request for 2022. In addition to that, there was a reclass request then for the district court administrator. And in the similar manner that the Superior Court was reorganized and restructured previously, this restructure is comparable to that. And in that regard, HR is recommending that the reclassification and the reorganization be approved, as was for the Superior Court model.
Wow, didn't see that one coming. Okay, commissioners.
Is that, do you have that in a written out form?
Yes, it was emailed to you last Thursday or Friday.
Okay, I'll take a look back through.
Okay. Next item.
Hold on, Frank, let me just make sure that Commissioner Trask is included on this for conversations on it. What are you thinking right now in regards to what was just presented, Commissioner?
I appreciate you asking for my comment too. Yeah, I want to look at I must have missed it in my email, Frank. I apologize for that. But I'd like to take a look at it and before I think too much.
Sure.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. It's just interesting.
So the annual impact just for the reclass is $15,141 fully loaded.
Yeah, but the other body.
Well, that's a budget. So I'm sorry if I was misunderstood. The decision to add a body for the district deputy county district court administrator, that's a budget decision.
Okay,
that's not
a
part of my recommendation.
Yeah, you have the two of them in there together. So you are recommending that the reclass fits the definition of reclass and believe that it would stand up basically to past practice. Okay,
Yeah.
that helps me a lot because I was a little surprised that HR would come forward with saying, yeah, put a body in there just that quick. It's just usually not that easy.
No. That's a board decision, part of the budget process.
Okay.
And if the board decides to add that additional body, then the reclass request is justifiable in exactly the same way that the Superior Court Justice reorganization was modeled.
Well, with that being said, commissioners, and we can still hold off and do everything else, but off of their recommendation for that, I'm in favor of putting that part forward. Do you still want, but you haven't had a chance to read it, have you? Or did you understand it the same way I did originally, Commissioner Schutte? Were you hearing both or?
Yeah, that's yeah. So I found it in my email. I guess it came out Friday afternoon, and so I don't believe it's in the packet that was out for public review. So I think given that, I'd like to hold off at least a week and take a look. And I agree. I mean, obviously adding an FTE is a budget decision separate from the reclass. That makes sense. I get that. So.
Okay. So Commissioner Trask, are you okay with waiting and rebriefing this on next week?
No, absolutely. I want to take a good look at it. And I agree with Commissioner Schutte to let the public see it also.
Yeah. Patsy, I see that you put yourself on right now. Do you have anything that's pressing you'd like to say on this, or can it wait until the next briefing?
No, it can wait till the next briefing. I just wanted to clarify the same thing Frank did.
Okay, thank you. So we will go ahead and we will put that on our next briefing, please.
Thank you, commissioners. Next item is an agreement with Community Development Block Grants. This is the CDBG grant that we agreed previously to extend for Mason County, Thurston County, and Lewis County to December 31st, 2022. Department of Commerce has agreed to do that extension. These are the subcontracts that we incurred in that agreement. So we need to extend the subcontract recipients for that CDBG grant. And that's what this request is to amend the subrecipient agreements for that CDBG block grant.
I'm in favor of moving forward. Commissioners, anything?
Supportive as well.
Okay,
And the last item is the addition of Mr. Irwin and Nelson for the Foothills Park hosts. Diane?
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, as Frank said, we have Lara Nelson right now as a Foothills Park host, and we are asking to add James Irwin. He's moving in November 1.
you've already done your checks and everything else on it?
Yes, he's been screened.
Okay, I'm supportive, commissioners.
Same.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioners. That's all we have.
Okay, do you guys have anything for them?
Yeah,
have-
just, oh,
Kevin, Shooty, go ahead, please.
yeah, just a real quick item. So, Frank, this came up at our Mason Transit meeting last week about the addition of Juneteenth as a holiday. Can you get back to us on what our plan is? And there was some discussion about whether that needed to be collectively bargained or not. So if you have any information now, that's great. If not, if you could just bring that back to us next briefing so that we know what the expectation is for next year.
Absolutely. I'll bring it back at the next briefing.
I contacted him right away, just so you
Perfect.
commission knows. So he does have it, you'll see what I was saying was pretty accurate. Okay, what else do we have?
We have a letter to the governor from Commissioner Trask.
Yeah, so as you know, I've written a few letters in the past asking the governor to include us in some of his conversations and his decision making. This is basically just another letter, letting him know what I've heard in the community, some of the concerns, and maybe steps moving forward, some suggestions to move forward. So I just wanted to know if you guys wanted to sign on or wanted to make changes to it or anything like that.
I'm sorry, but this is the first time I actually saw it, so I'm trying to read it now. Commissioner Shooty?
Yeah, so I'm comfortable, Commissioner, with you sending it with your signature. I don't intend to sign on.
Oh. Well, you guys know how I feel about sticking together as a family or not. So I myself, I don't see an issue with it, but Commissioner, I'm going to support, in a sense, that request from Commissioner Shooty. I don't think it'd be appropriate to have any type of split decision on this one. So if you don't mind, please go ahead and send it as a commissioner.
No problem at all.
Again, I would hope somebody would do that for me, and I would hope we would do the same for you on that. So with that being said, I think we're in agreement that thank you for writing it, though. I don't see any issue with it that I have with it, and so just know it's appreciated that you're moving forward and you're doing things to try and help, Commissioner.
Yeah, part of my job.
Yeah. What else we got, guys?
That's it.
Okay, then we're going to go ahead and move on out of that one. We're running a little bit late, guys, so if we can pick it up a little bit, be appreciated. Community Services, Dave Windom.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I'm going to start off with saying I made a mistake earlier when I misspoke on the $10,000. That's an increase for the extra help fire marshal, not the other piece that I was talking about. So the other piece was already approved. So this is, Jennifer was right. So we're good. I misspoke. Moving on, Alex.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I've got our environmental health fee schedule here, proposal for 2022. Per the 2013 resolution, we are raising the CPIU for last year, which was 5.2%. But on that resolution, it limits it to 5%. So we're just adjusted down slightly. And then we also round down to the nearest 5 every year just to help keep fees kind of simplified for the public and contractors to remember and whatnot. So just approval to forward to our next action agenda.
Commissioners?
I'm supportive.
Yep, sounds good.
We'll make it happen.
Great, thank you. That was it.
Alex, before you leave, sorry, Commissioners, to jump in on this. I just want to compliment you on the quality of the work. I've had I'm going to say opportunity to go in there and have to work with them on a specific issue. The professionalism, the warmth of it. I actually ended up going upstairs pretty damn happy being a part of Mason County. And I just wanted to share with you, Alex, it was very much appreciated. And as a citizen, I very much found you guys to be very helpful. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we have some great staff here. So thank you.
And we stole a young man from the Salmon Center. We're not stealing from Thurston, but poor Salmon Center, because we got somebody well. Good. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What do you got next?
Okay, next is Marissa Watson.
Hi, Commissioners. Good
Morning,
morning.
Marissa.
Morning. So the Planning Department just has a request to place on the November 9th action agenda to set a public hearing for December 7th to consider a rezone of approximately a 3.22 acre parcel from rural residential 5 to rural commercial 2. And that's within the rural development areas. You have the printouts of the maps of the aerial maps and the GIS map there. That particular parcel is about 260 feet east of the intersection of East McGreevy Road and East Dalby Road. It's between the Chevron and convenience station there at the corner and the PUD 1 switch station. Our applicant, Michael Ricketts, is just asking for a request to rezone. The PAC unanimously approved to recommend the approval to you guys. So I'm just hoping to get it on the action agenda for November 9th.
Wonderful. Commissioner Schutte, this is right around the corner from you. Do you see any issue that you want to bring up?
No, I'm good with moving forward.
Commissioner Trask, you good with putting on the agenda?
Yep, sounds good.
Let's make it happen. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, Commissioners, that's what I have on our agenda. If I can answer any questions.
Do we have anything for Dave?
Dave, I just wanted to echo what Commissioner Netherland said. Your team in the entire building is amazing. They're just spot on. They're responsive. Just super happy to have them as part of the Mason County team as well.
I appreciate that. I really have a great team working for me here. It makes things so much easier, especially in these hectic times that we're in, is to have people that you can trust and that are good.
You know, it's funny is Dave actually showed up in the middle of when I was doing it. I'm curious if he thought there's a commissioner. Oh, you know, what's going on?
You kind of caught me in the middle of my afternoon rounds.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I went upstairs and some of the issues that our citizens were having, I spoke to Kel. It just hadn't been conveyed to them yet. But again, another issue fixed, addressed, fixed. Man, you got to love that. You just got to love that and appreciate that. And that's what Commissioner Schutte had to say. I saw him. No.
My top concern.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Unless anybody else has any questions. Hearing none. Thank you. Next up is Loretta Swanson, Utilities Waste Management. And now we're early. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So first up, we have the CRP for Mason Lake Road Improvement Project. And I'm not sure if Mike's, oh, he is. And this is to recommend that the board execute a resolution for this CRP and authorize the chair to sign documents so we can advertise, set bid opening, and award a contract for this project. And Mike's happy to elaborate if you've got questions about what we're up to.
I don't know. Do we have any questions? Or are we good to go on this one?
Good.
Looks good.
Sorry, Mike.
Good job, Mike.
Go ahead, Loretta. Next.
All right. Next, we have a sole source purchase, and this is for a grapple all out at the Eels Hill Solid Waste Facility. And we need to replace the grapple.
Before we go further, I'm going to say, Mike, you know, you've always, one of the things I've enjoyed is that you definitely look for the ways to cut costs on that. You'll bring in used if it's used, you bring in new if it's new. Because you're so open-minded, I already know that you've already done the work that's necessary on this one for myself. So you may not have to speak again. Let's see. Commissioners, do you have questions?
I do not.
I do. What's a grapple?
This is the piece of equipment that is used to compact our solid waste. And Richard can give you a little bit more on that. And also his team, with the assistance of our ER&R folks, they did a lot of research on this as well. So Kevin, we got to get some kudos in there for Kevin and Richard on the research also.
Oh my God, and Pete and Gary and just a slew of people. This is actually a very nice attachment for us. It's actually improved the consistency at the weights we maintain on the trailers we're loading as well. So this, just to answer your question, this grapple, if you look at it, it's basically, it looks like a big giant block, but it has the ability to open up and pick things up and then smash the heck out and compact that trailer. So
scientific language.
We're right at 25 tons, right at where we need to be on our contract. And we've been able to maintain those within like 0.10 on the tonnage. Really good job on that.
And better yet, without damaging equipment.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus as well.
Exactly.
That's a plus for sure.
Yep.
So do you have to have a special license, or can common folk like, the three of us, can we come out and run it?
Only if the shop comes out and trains you first.
Well, you know what's funny is I would never have thought about that question, but I got to admit, if that's possible, I would sure love to go out there, and I love machinery anyway. Just Commissioner Trask, that'd be funnier than heck if as one commissioner to another, we only need two. I give you permission to go forward and make that happen for us. What do you think, Commissioner Schutte?
As long as we maybe bump up our liability coverage. I don't know that you want me out there doing that.
Yeah.
My dad had a construction company, and side note, and so I could get up on the backhoe and the dump truck and things like that. So much fun. I have such an appreciation for big equipment. So
sure, it is probably one of the greatest stress releasers I've ever come across. It really is. Using big machinery and changing land, there's a feeling that comes with it. You just can't get it anywhere else.
Yep.
It certainly is satisfying, especially a good operator.
That's right.
For sure.
So we're in agreement to go forward, right?
Yes.
And thank you, staff, for all your hard work on that. What else you got, Loretta?
That's it in terms of briefing items, commissioners. As far as upcoming action items, just a reminder, we've got a hearing tomorrow for the Boyer Road speed limit and Orchard Beach franchise agreement. And coming up in mid-November, we have our hearing for the 6-year and annual construction program. And then just a couple of commissioner follow-up items. We had a communication from a person that was concerned about site distance up at Little Mission Creek Lane and North Shore Road intersection. And our team went out to take a look at that. And it does appear that without pulling forward on from the stop bar, that there is some blockage of site distance there. So we're working on a solution on that. You've got good site distance without pulling into the lane, but certainly there are some things that we could look at to make some improvements. And then we've got some follow-up. Dave contacted DOT about the intersection of SR 300 and Sand Hill Road and has not heard a response back there. But there was a question about whether or not an illumination warrant was met. Yeah. And in his opinion, it was met, and reached out to DOT to follow up on that.
Please stay up on that, because that is a really bad intersection. And, I'm always amazed how much I don't recognize that there's no lighting until somebody tells me. Then you go out there and realize, what the heck, this is probably one of the busiest ones. And on a curve, why would we not illuminate that? But
Mhm.
Please continue on that one.
Yep, we'll keep pressing. Mike, was there anything else on that? And then we had, let's see. We're working, as you know, or maybe know, out on Harstein Island. We've had some good positive feedback from residents out there. And we've got some follow-up on a particular site there on Point Wilson. And the team will be out taking a closer look and getting ready to move on that project as well. When I say project, it's really just some small work to resolve a drainage issue there.
Loretta, while you're out there, if you were to go Harstein Island, you get onto the island, you make a right, go all the way to the end of that T.
Mhm.
There's a site issue there that has been brought to my attention. I've been out there and I looked at it. And if the stop bar is the point of which we start to recognize whether there's a site issue or not, well, then this one might be accurately a site issue. There's 2 trees that make it so you have to get past the stop bar to see that are right there on the corner. While your folks are out there, if you could take a peek at that on the
Okay.
right. And it happens to be, there's a dip there too. I think the dip is the greater worry, but those 2 trees, it was brought to our attention. Now that it was brought to my attention, I think we should send somebody to take a peek.
Okay.
I
And
did
so
drive out
that's,
there.
if you're turning south on the Island Drive, and then you said when you come to the T, Commissioner?
Yeah, you go follow it all the way to that T. The T is where the site issue is. If you look to the right, you'll see 2 trees are blocking the vision. You have to go pull up past the stop bar.
Okay.
To get it. I'm only bringing it up now because if we have somebody out there, maybe now's the time to take a look at that.
Okay. Good deal. Let's see, Mike, we had a couple of other things, just maybe some follow-up update on the Walnut Street and Eels Hill. And we received an award of funds for our Highway Safety Improvement Program.
Yeah, Walnut Street, we sent all the data out to Ms. Layton and have not received any response to her. So I did that like the next day, so it's been a week or so. Eels Hill, there's a slide there. We're meeting tomorrow with the property owner. No, not tomorrow, Wednesday, with the property owner to get the final easement settled there to be able to finish that repair. And HSIP, Safety Enhancement Awards, we've got actually from local programs awarded bridge guardrail retrofit, about $385,000 grant. Horizontal curve analysis, about $73,000, and signpost reflective panels, $54,000 grant was for those. So that'll be our next project. We'll be spending some of that money next year.
And those are 100% Fed aid funded, no match required for those projects. And other than that, I think that's about it on our end. Commissioners, we're watching the Skokomish. It's due for its first minor flood alert coming up this week. So we'll keep you posted on that and hopefully put our new gauges to work here before too much longer.
Now, those are the ones that send you automatic updates, right?
Yeah, it's a continuous update, and once we've got the survey control information, it's a web link that we want to make available to the public as well, so they can see what the river height is looking like, and then we'll have a control point that shows what the road elevation is. And we're thinking about having another line that would show at what point we would actually close the road. It's a real good, quick visual for the community to be able to make better plans about whether they're sheltering in place or planning evacuation or just what they're planning to do.
That's so cool. Great job.
Yeah, nice implementation for sure. We're excited to put it to work.
Excellent. Anything further?
That's all from our end, commissioners, I think, Richard. And
that's good.
Oh, no. Yes, one thing further that did not show up. I apologize. This did not show up on last week's either. But we have an operator. Actually, we have 2 operator positions that have been unfilled. And at this time, Richard and Justin are requesting to be able to fill one of our water and sewer utility operator positions. And Richard's happy to elaborate about.
This is that one that was missing?
Well, actually, we currently have 6 FTEs. We had 7 up until April. Bob was leaving in May, so he said, well, we're not going to hire somebody until at least the new guy gets here and evaluate kind of what he's getting into and let him decide if he really needs another person or not. He's came to the conclusion that, yeah, we can't keep up with preventative maintenance or even implement a preventative maintenance type schedule. And also with 6 people, if somebody's gone sick, they're you're paying overtime every time. And so we'd like to advertise and try to fill that position again. And we're working on a new schedule with a little more flexibility for the operators and a lot more coverage for us to get actual maintenance and maintenance plans and preventative type things like that done during the Monday through Friday work week.
Okay, commissioners, questions?
It's already in the budget.
Yeah, we're budgeted for 8 FTEs. We've been running with 6 since April. And it's not been fun, but we didn't want to hire somebody. I didn't want to have Bob hire somebody if he wasn't going to be here. I thought it'd be best to have Justin hire his own team. And he's finally came to the conclusion that, yeah, he really does need that other person. It's been a bear for him without it.
Commissioner Schutte?
Yeah, given that it's budgeted and you've done your evaluation, I'm supportive of filling those positions.
Commissioner Trask, you agree?
Yep.
As do I. So let's move forward with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Yep. Anything else?
Now that is officially it from our end.
Okay. Do we have anything for them, commissioners? We have a lot of rain and stuff coming up. A lot more issues going on. Keep us apprised, please, as things move forward. Commissioners, I tell you, for myself, I get calls from the community. I am so appreciative of Loretta and staff. I actually just take a picture, send it over to them. You'd be surprised how quickly it gets done. But as part of our jobs when we're out there, it's not part of our jobs, but sometimes we're the first ones to see it. So,
Yep.
all right. All right, then. Thank you very much, Loretta. We're going to go ahead and move forward. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Sheryl, we are a little bit early. Are you ready to go on a little early?
Yes, commissioners, let me get the videos, maybe the video started?
No problem. Then I'll go ahead and introduce you. So we're going to go ahead and move into the sheriff's office. Presenter is Sheryl Hilt.
Hi, good morning, commissioners. We just have one item for you this morning that is a sole source purchase of some interview room equipment. I do have one change to make on your briefing for the recommended or requested action. This wouldn't be coming out of county ending fund balance. This would be coming out of Senate Bill 5092 money, which we'll have to do a budget supplemental for at the end of the year.
Okay.
I also have Detective Sergeant Rhodes here if you have questions about what they're going to use this for or why the sole source.
I have a different question first. Commissioner Schutte, you represent us on the IT committee. Isn't this something that should go through them?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've been trying to get sheriff's office staff into the next committee meeting to talk about the body camera program generally. So this would be, I think, a good venue to discuss the project a little bit. Certainly want to see us adhere to the legislation that was passed. but just want to make sure that everything is integrating the right way with our countywide IT program.
Yeah, just learning how to work with each other sometimes is a valuable tool. And when a piece gets left off there, we may never learn how to do it if we don't do it together. I myself, I see no issue with this request. I just would like to see also that it go through our new proper channels so that they can vet it also and come back with a recommendation. Do you see a time constraint issue that would challenge that, Sheryl?
I'm not entirely certain when the IT committee meets, so I can't answer that question. I'm not sure, since we'd have to have this purchase done by the end of the year, if we can fit it in. I do believe that this integrates fully with the GTAC body and vehicle cameras, so we could probably do that all together.
Yeah, so our next meeting is November 13th. So I think the quote that you all provided is good through the end of November. So that should give us enough time to be able to talk about it a little bit and then take action.
Yeah, with the recommendation, which I'm sure there's going to be, I'm looking at this, but just to make sure we follow the proper procedures that were set up, I don't see us having any problem even expediting it at that point. If they have a recommendation, just get it right on the agenda, get it passed, get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we could do it on the 13th, brief it on the 18th, and then, have this done by the 26th, probably. I mean, that timeline seems reasonable.
Commissioner Trask, do you have any comment?
I'm just looking at the calendar. So your meeting's when?
It's November 13th.
It's actually November 17th.
That's a Sunday, so I don't plan on being there if that's the case. Oh, my bad. I'm on October, Jennifer.
I figured.
So November.
Diane's on. Now we're all in trouble. You had to do it, Kevin.
It was broadcast. I need the IT committee as much as anybody. I don't know how to toggle between calendars here.
November 10, we meet with IT. So yeah, we could brief it the 15th. It'll go on the November 23rd agenda.
Okay.
I was there in spirit.
Yep, you got it. Commissioner Trask, are you supportive?
Yeah, I like Diane's dates a lot better than Saturday the 13th. Oh.
I just noticed that if you're watching my job is to, when we're on the meetings, to watch everybody in the chair. As soon as she pops on, everybody sets up just a little taller. Okay. Sheryl, first,
I think it's great quote, and it's probably going to move forward. But with the new committee organization and things, I think it's good that we start using that IT committee, because we got a bunch of big brains on that committee. So the more the merrier.
Well, and it definitely helps us to be able just to be okay to purchase things that we don't know what we're talking about when it goes on there. This here, I think we could have done, but at the same time, it's important that we follow the procedures that we set forward, or we can't expect anybody to. So, Sheryl, are you comfortable with that?
Okay, so as I understand it, November 10th IT meeting, November 18th briefing, and November 23rd.
No, November 15th.
15th briefing. Sorry, I can't even write my own writing. November 15th briefing and November 23rd action.
Yeah, the chances are on the 15th, you're not going to have to do nothing more than just, if even show, the committee will have a supportive recommendation that just moves on to agenda.
So if we order, we're going to be able to get it in by the end of the year? 4 weeks?
No, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the issue.
Okay, so that's the only issue I can see, is being able to get it in by the end of the year and pay it out of this 5092 money. So it would, if we can't get it in by the end of the year, then we'd have to take it out of 2022 funds.
Does it have to be purchased by the end of the year or received by the end of the year?
Well, part of the problem is, at the same time as the new law comes into effect on January 1, that requires audio and video recording of all custodial interviews and interrogations. And this purchase of this equipment is to come into compliance with that new legislation. And it's when I talked to the rep and had them come out and do the on-site to get us the quote, it's going to be a couple day installation process at both locations because we're having a system put in here in the main courthouse as well as one installed at the North Precinct in Belfair.
So would the is a interim potential solution with whatever time there might be in between, would the body cameras suffice as a recording device to be used in these situations?
Yes.
So Diane, oh, she went off.
She still listens. She's behind everything.
I'm still here. Yeah.
If I can ask, I believe county policy states that we have to have that equipment received by the end of the year. Is that correct?
That is correct. As far as the funding though, if you're actually bringing in new revenue, and Jennifer can correct me if I'm wrong, but that can be carried forward into the next budget. If it comes down to, we haven't paid for it in this year, but the meeting the letter of the law and then the having the equipment is probably more of the issue.
Yeah, it's money that's already been received by the county. So we got $255,000 plus for this 5092 legislation. So we're trying to use it up in the year in which it was received.
Right, and that can be carried forward though if it's not actually expended this year. That's just a budgeting item that Jennifer can track. I guess I'm more interested in, why is it sole source?
The reason for the sole source is because it's the same company that we purchased the body cameras and the in-car video system, and the storage of the data is going to integrate with that system that we've already purchased. We wouldn't have to go out and then purchase another server or additional storage because it's all from GTAC Solutions. It integrates already with the equipment that we currently do have.
And no other company would integrate like that, I take it?
That is correct.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with that, Diane?
As far as the sole source, yeah, we always have to be careful on sole source because it can't just be because it's more convenient or anything. It has to be because it truly is the only equipment that will do that job.
Yeah, and there may be others that can, but it's never going to mesh up as good as having the actual company that you're already dealing with, if it's possible.
So, we talked about situations like this a little bit at the last IT steering committee meeting where, there might be, a little bit of flexibility and just asking for TJ to kind of vet them and then make a recommendation. I don't know, Diane, if you think this is a situation where that would be appropriate or.
I think it would, and I wanted to ask, has there been any discussion with IT about how this does integrate and impacts IT at all?
So let me get in there. If you can hear me, this is Jason.
Yes, we can.
So the body camera system, the car camera system, and this interview room system all are on the same platform and work together. From the get-go, I've been working with county IT on the body cam and the car cam. I never even thought about bringing them in on the IT system. It's just one computer system to upload new data. It wasn't a big concept or a big change or idea.
I think one of the areas that we had to have some additional clarity on, and I think we got this, but was with records requests from like the prosecutor's office and where that would live on, what server that would live on, whether it would be the GTAC cloud or if it would be on our servers and the space components of that. Would this be similar in that way, that there might be some?
All this is like another body camera for the interview rooms. Seriously, all it does is it feeds right back into the system that we've already paid for and got, and it'll all get stored onto the cloud. So we're not impacting county IT in any way in that concept.
The only thing I'd ask you, we've all been doing so great together, but it sounds to me like there was a request to have you guys come in and meet with them in the future, because I have a feeling we're going to support this right now. But when we have those opportunities to meet with those organizations, we really need to make them happen, because these new committees and things that we've set up is what keeps things moving smoothly. And even though it might be a little bit of a pain to have to attend these things, it'd be beneficial in the long run. So when we have the chance, we have to do it first. And if we decide to move forward on this today, just please keep that in mind for any other thing that we do with IT, just to throw it through them so we can stick with our process. That's the only thing I'm asking. Commissioner Schutte, because of the specific situation, and you're representing us on the IT committee, I guess I'm asking your permission for a yes to go through and just have our one staff member.
Yeah, I think, if Chief, if you just make that conversation happen with TJ, I think we could probably move forward given the time constraints. That's the only issue.
It'll be done in 5 minutes.
Okay. Commissioner Trask, are you comfortable with this also?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. Thank you guys for all that hard effort on it. And we'll work through this on the next one so that we can get it done. We'll try and have a little more time with each other.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So Diane, which action agenda can we get on?
Commissioners, if TJ and Chief Jacoby talk today and it's okay, can we put it on tomorrow's agenda, the 26th?
I'm comfortable because it'll give them the time that's needed to get this thing done. Commissioner Schutte?
Yeah, that's fine.
Commissioner Trent? Yep, she's shaking. She's got American for Yes going over there. So that's what we'll do. If you can handle it today and get a hold of him immediately, we'll get right past this and get it on our agenda. Try to do it. He said he's going to call now. If we get it done immediately, then we can easily do it. But we have staff that are going to be waiting to have that information to make sure it's on the agenda.
Yes, he just left. I think he's going to call DJ.
Okay, good.
I believe so right now. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, do we have anything for the Sheriff's Department? Hearing none, thank you very much, Sheryl, and you have a great day, guys.
You too.
Okay, next up, I have the Auditor's Office and Paddy McGuire. Good morning, Paddy.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Incredible.
So my role in this is going to be very brief. This is the recommendation from your committee that I staffed to draft a redistricting plan for the county commissioner districts. We have two members of the committee here online, Pete Butkus, who served as the chair, and Linda Prado, one of the four voting members, are both on, and I'll just pass the ball to Pete to discuss their recommendation.
Good morning, Pete.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is Pete Butkus, and for the clerk of the board, my address is 290 East Fern Creek Road, Shelton. And Mr. Chair, if you're ready, I'll give a very brief report.
Please.
Well, first of all, I'm the chair. The four members of the board are John Paddy, who was not with us today. John is out volunteering on another project. Linda Prado, who is with us, as well as Bob Rogers and Phil Wilson, who maybe haven't joined us yet. The committee, formal title, Mason County Redistricting Citizens Advisory Committee's recommendation to the commission for future commission districts until the next bicentennial U.S. Census is that the existing commission district boundaries be retained. That was a unanimous vote of the board. In your briefing packet is a short Excel spreadsheet showing the percentage difference, which is really pretty small. The largest district is yours, Mr. Chair, District 1, which is actually 2.4966% over the ideal, rounded to 2.5.
You're all in trouble now, guys.
Just kidding. I'll entertain any questions.
I'll go with questions first before I was going to make a comment. Questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a quick question for Pete. Pete, thanks for coming in and joining us this morning in the report. Can you talk a little bit about public comment that may have been solicited and received on the proposals or any of that part of the process?
Yes, sir, I can, Commissioner. We actually reached out to both the Indian nations, the Skokomish and the Squaxin. The members of the board met with the Skokomish Tribal Council and presented what was going on, asked them for input. We reminded them again just a few weeks ago by letter that went to the tribal chair as well as their chief administrator and the legal counsel, and we have received no comment from the Skokomish. As related to the Squaxin tribe, we weren't able to schedule a meeting with them that worked for their convenience. Paddy McGuire reached out to the tribal council chair, who indicated that they were comfortable with the boundaries as proposed. Beyond that, we sadly had no members of the public attend our meetings, and we had no members of the public attend our Zoom meeting for a public hearing to get comments. So our draft recommendation became our final recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trask, do you have any comments or questions? Sorry.
I have lots of comments. As far as questions, I know that you guys put in hours and appreciate all of those hours and your input. It also makes it a lot cheaper for us because no more printing. We're going to keep with what we have. So thanks.
I never thought about that. Chairman Butkus, do you mind if I invite I see two of your members on here now to make a comment if they'd like?
Go ahead.
Let's start with Linda. Linda, do you have anything you'd like to add? You're on mute, Linda. It's okay.
Okay. I really don't have much to add. It felt like the discrepancies were so minute between the districts, and everything else that we would need to look at would have, possibly created a lot larger problems. So after we spent some time talking about all of the other districts and the boundaries, it really felt like what we had and what you have seemed like the best alternative at this point.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Linda?
Oh, big thank you.
Bob, you mind popping on for a second? Do you have any comments you'd like to make?
No, I'm going to just stay on audio. You hear me fine?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just agree with Linda. We all looked at the numbers and it just didn't seem reasonable to do much moving, especially when a lot of the district lines were coincident with school districts, PUDs. And the other thing that I always think about is the numbers are accurate, relatively accurate. They're not exact, and they've changed already. So to spend a lot of effort, trying to pin it beyond what we did, just seems like a lot of extra costs, a lot of extra effort, and just left things the way they are, which seems appropriate.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Bob?
Another thank you.
Chairman Butkus, is there anybody else on here that I'm missing?
There is not. My closing comment, Mr. Chair, is to the extent that this is a successful recommendation and goes well, the committee deserves the credit. To the extent that maybe it runs afoul of something, I'll stand up.
It's all your fault.
Okay.
Okay. Now time for comments. I'll start just by saying thank you so much for your hard work. It looks like we're 547 away from perfection. You can't get much better than that with the population we have. I think you guys did a wonderful job, and consistency is an important thing when possible, allowing people to remain with what they already know. That just makes all perfect sense in the world. I'm so glad you guys thought outside the box and went for simplicity rather than perfection. Commissioner Trask.
Oh, looks pretty perfect to me, and I think it's interesting to see the thought process. You look at all the other districts too, not just the county districts, but the school districts, the PUDs and things like that. So I think you guys did an amazing job, and appreciate the time that you put in. I think you guys did great. So thank you.
Commissioner Schutte.
Yeah, special thanks to everybody who served on the committee. I think it seems like it was a smooth and successful process, and appreciate you stepping up and doing this work for the community. Also, thanks to Auditor McGuire, you and your staff for facilitating this process and getting it done quickly, and just appreciate all the effort.
So, Mr. Auditor, so the next step would be for us to put it on our agenda and pass it. Is that accurate?
This may be 10 years ago, there was a resolution, 11-52, I believe, was the resolution adopting the lines. I think something similar to that. I can get with Diane and figure out the details. We have until December 31 to finalize everything, so we're not in any sort of panic mode, but I'll get with Diane and figure out exactly steps forward.
I appreciate that. And so Diane, if we did it that way in the past, it sounds like we don't need an actual hearing.
I'm not sure when I read the RCW, because we did create the redistricting committee and they did hold their own process. I don't know if that meets the requirements in the law, or if we still need to, as a commission, now take the recommendation of that committee and have our own hearing. And it's kind of hard when you read the law on which group it applies to, but we'll check with Whitehead if nothing else and make sure we get it done.
Okay, I was gonna say, just to make sure, because we're doing the things every other week, that
Right.
can put things out quite a ways. I'm okay with, if Tim Whitehead says we need a meeting, I'm okay with putting on the agenda tomorrow to set the date. Commissioner Schutte, I see your head nodding. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think that's good. Get it in the queue if we need to.
Okay, Commissioner Trask, yep, same with her. So yeah, let's double check with Tim. If we do need a hearing, we'll put it on the agenda for tomorrow to actually set the date for the hearing. Although I got to admit, I'm trying to think this thing out. A citizen can say a lot, but what are we going to do? We're going to draw the lines. We don't know how that would work, but a hearing's a hearing, and if it's required, it's required. So we'll see what it is. All right, so for all of you who stepped up to do this again, we're very, very appreciative of you, and thank you very much for stepping up and doing this. We know it took a lot of time and a lot of effort. And anytime you take anything like this on, you also take a chance of getting yelled at by somebody. But it sounds like everything went pretty smooth this time. So thank you. Thank you very much for everything you did. And we'll know more by the next meeting what we're going to do.
And Mr. Chairman, if I can just add, I mean, the committee was really great to work with, and spent a lot of time and effort on this. And so my hat's off to them also.
Wonderful. Okay, do we have anything else for the auditor's office? None? Do you have anything else? Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said 'tis the season.
Yeah. Do you have anything else for us, Patty?
Nope, that's it.
All right, then we thank you very much. You guys have a great day. So commissioners, next up is we have some time, but let's take a little bit of a break, and we'll go into our executive or our closed session a little early if we can. I don't see Frank on here. Frank, the closed session, can you do it earlier?
Yes, I can open it up.
And the same with the executive?
Yep, they would be one back to back.
Okay, so how much time do we think we need for the close?
20 to 25 minutes max.
For both combined?
Combined.
Okay, so we'll do 25 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and at 10:40, we will move into our closed session for 25 minutes. So it'll be 11:05. Yep, 11:05. Before we do that, commissioners, do you have any commissioner discussion? Let's get that out of the way now. Commissioner Trent? Nope. So then we will come back, and we're not expecting to take any action, right?
No.
Okay, so we will be back at 11:05 after the close of the closed session and the executive session. I'll see everybody there.
Thank you.